Whoa, 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 whoa. What was that? Stop the press. Hang on. Hang on. Get over here. We just got a raid. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It is so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today,
Resubscribed for 60 months.
there's Chris Jones with the resub. Thank you so much. Today is January 30th, 2024. We're going to write a little bit of code today. Big thanks, TBD Gamer on the raid, getting us started. My gosh, I was on the last run through on the music, and here we go with a raid over there on Twitch. Much appreciate. How you doing there, Raiders? So good to see you. Thank you very much for connecting in with us. You were doing some amazing Blazor stuff over there on TBD Gamer's channel. Yeah, well, tell me a little bit more. What were you doing? Because I spent a bit of time yesterday tinkering, working with the Blazing Pizza Workshop and trying to figure out next steps forward to make it .NET 8. Because it's not clear how it should be .NET 8. And as we're trying to talk through it, it is not trivial. Let me say hello to chat room and everybody that came over. Hello, hello. There we are right there. Let me start up at the top there. MDS Ubuntu, hello, hello. Warm Peas, good to see you. There's the raid Deflux, good to see you. Coming over on the raid. Get the popcorn? Yeah, let's get some popcorn. Thank you so much, TBD Gamer, for the resub. 23 months, and I'll make a donation to the American Cancer Society. Esser Sahin, hello, welcome. Dr. Cox, how's it going there? Napalm, yeah, I'll take a look at that in a little bit here. You were building a viewer project called Water Drink Water using Blazor WebAssembly, learning your way through how to use that effectively. And Blazor WebAssembly can do some really cool things. The new pre-rendering capabilities of Blazor WebAssembly make it pretty compelling. There are some undocumented limitations that I've been running into that are intriguing, that are compelling, that are going to make it very exciting for folks to be able to consider because of the decisions that you can make. But it's good to know about them before you go too deep into it. TBD was having a deeper discussion about Blazor. All right, happy to hear more about how deep you were going on that. Some interesting concepts that you were discussing. Temptic, hello. Blazor is amazing. Yeah, I do enjoy Blazor. We're broadcasting live on YouTube and Twitch. Well, let's talk more about Blazor. I'm going to get my gunners on here. And what were you discussing? What were you running into that you wanted that we can discuss a little bit further here? What I've been seeing, what I've been experiencing is when you turn on global interactivity, and you try to then piecemeal turn on a page as interactive this and a component as interactive that, you can't mix and match on the same page as much. That's not possible to say this page is interactive server, but this component over here is interactive Blazor. You can't sure, go ahead, take a look. It knows this one. Come on now. Taking its good old time and through an error message coming back there. Yeah, there you go. It's the Eye of Agamotto. It should have played the music for that one. So the challenge is when you start to mix and match, you can mix and match pages, but and you can have a page that is static server rendered, and you can have components on that page that are rendered differently in different locations. However, passing state between them is perilous at best. The best way to manage and pass state between those various components is going to be by doing it, in my opinion, server side, so that you can guarantee that those requests all come back through and have the same content. So that's my experience, and we're going to be diving in and doing more with Tags app here today, where there are pages on Tags app that we want to be WebAssembly and running really, really fast with some pre-rendering on the client. And there's pages that we want to be interactive server. And there's pages we want to be static server rendered. So it's pretty interesting how we're able to split that up and define and move things around and take the same component and let that component render in each one of those rendering modes. So what kinds of discussions were you talking about? I'm curious, what was interesting? What were things that you run into? Some of the challenges you've been having, modes, different options are tough to understand. And okay, this is exactly what I'm trying to do in rewriting the Blazing Pizza workshop, because it is very difficult to understand there's 5 rendering modes for Blazor. Like, folks that are just working in Node and have an Angular front end or a Vue front end, they're like, hey, look, I've got client, I've got server. Yeah, but what if we could do both? What if we could do both and we could let the network decide where the content should be rendered? What if we could do both and just do parts on the server and do parts on the client? And just those pieces that are going to be more processing that we want in the browser rendering and taking care of that stuff, roll it over there and let that do its thing. Those things that you want the mobile device to be able to do because it makes more sense, because it eliminates privacy concerns. It eliminates the need to upload something or to interact with or reach out and have the server try and do something that's unnatural with a phone or a tablet. What if we could do that right on the device because we have WebAssembly on there? That's really cool. And then feedback and hand things off to something server or static rendered that can be more compelling, can be faster, easier, cached, and load and deliver that content on the server. It's very, very compelling stuff. To have that power, we all want that power. We all hate that we've had to decide when we start writing code, does this run on the server? Does this run in the browser? We all hate that decision. I've hated that decision since way back in 1996 when I started writing web pages. Am I writing this with a CGI bin script, or am I writing this with some JavaScript, this new JavaScript thing that runs in the browser? Or, you know what, VBScript is actually a little bit easier for me to write. Let me write that in the browser instead, back in 1996, 1997. I attended the Internet Explorer 4 launch event at a local movie theater here in Philadelphia. Let me tell you, that was the height in 1997, 1998 of internet development. I went to a movie theater to watch a big keynote from folks at Microsoft that were launching Internet Explorer 4, the most cutting edge browser out there, because it had this thing in it called CSS. And what do we do with that? How do we advance that thing? And to make sure that everybody got a copy of Internet Explorer, they handed out CD-ROMs to everybody. Like, you weren't going to download this thing. We're going to give you a CD-ROM to install and run. So, you wish you had my programming experience. I'm so well versed in C#. Samaro, it just takes practice. And practice? We talking about practice. Practice is something that you don't have to ask permission to do. It's something that interests you, something that makes you happy, something that'll save you time. Just start writing some code. Like, you don't have to ask permission. Just do it. It's okay. And if it doesn't work right, that's okay too. Ask a friend for help. Post a message out on the internet, on Twitter, Stack Overflow. Hey, I need some help with something. And there's always people out there that are ready to help. TBD Gamer had some challenges with UI frameworks as well. Last week, tinkering with Mud Blazor, found yourself disliking the library. I agree. Mud Blazor is very, very compelling. There's a lot of stuff in there, but there are there are edges where you run into places, and this happens with every UI framework, even the commercial ones. You'll run into edges where there's things that I don't need. However, because I'm running this client side, I've got to ship the whole kit and caboodle, the whole shooting match, everything to the client because that's how it's packaged. I ran into this with Bootstrap over the weekend. We can talk a little bit about that. I'm going to get some music playing here and we'll dive in and talk some more. You know what? No, I don't want EDM. Let me go to the Synthwave playlist. I do like the Synthwave playlist. Sure, we'll start from the beginning. There we go. Electric Rose is the first song at the top of the playlist. This is music from Stream Beats. It's DMCA free. It's royalty free. And it's just cool to have in the background to fill some of the gaps while we're chatting and talking about stuff. Big thanks to Harris Heller and his team of creators for putting this music together we're listening to today. The library isn't updated for .NET 8. So here's the thing. You don't need to libraries, component libraries. The difference in a component library from running on .NET 7 back to .NET Core 3.1 and what you need for .NET 8, there should be no difference. As a component author, you don't need to do anything different. And quite frankly, I would not encourage a component author to dictate the interactive location of their components. That's something that you, as the application author, should dictate. There's not much that I would recommend folks upgrade in their component libraries to get to .NET 8. Oh my gosh, the Code and Ryan says, thank you for everything I've done. Oh my gosh. Streamers are just people. Many people say, yeah, we are all the same. Thank you, Code and Ryan. Appreciate those kind words. Always happy to help out and listen to folks and have a good discussion. Heavy F, thank you.
We've just resubscribed for 26 months.
Appreciate that. 26 months, and I'll make another donation to the American Cancer Society. Hey, Dope Pair, I'm doing well. I had a nice trip over the weekend. We went to West Virginia University. My daughter is considering attending West Virginia. We also stopped at Penn State to see my other daughter on the way home. It's a half-hour drive out of the way on the way home, so why not? So that was nice. Got to see a pair of women's basketball games over the weekend. Had a great time with that. Both home teams won. West Virginia won over those always tough Iowa State Cyclones. That's a drive and a half from Des Moines to Morgantown, West Virginia. That's a 10-hour drive. I know because I bingled it. I opened up the maps.bing.com and I bingled it. I said, how far is it from here? That's a 10-hour drive, man. Whew. I hope the ladies got a flight in at least. That is a long haul. The second game the next day was Penn State women's basketball versus University of Maryland, the Lady Terrapins. Penn State won like 114-70. It was close through the first half, and unfortunately, two of the ladies on the Maryland side injured their knees or their ankles. That just nothing rough about it. They just got in a collision and fell awkward. And Penn State just pulled away in the second half of the game. It ended up being just a blowout. And unfortunately, because of the ladies getting injured. So, Deflux remembers it being in the UK. AOL was handing out CDs. Yeah. I used to have a collection of America Online CDs that I kept. Didn't open them, just had a collection of sealed America Online CDs because you could pick them up everywhere for free. Hey, PC Nerd, good to see you there. There's Heavy F subscription. Code and Ryan. Yeah. Used to go by Ryan Codes. Okay. All right. Hey there, Amal. Good to see you over there on YouTube, and C# Titans over there in Australia. I hope you're having a great evening. Hello. Free coffee table coasters. Yes, Chris Jones, right? Free coffee table coasters. So, It, TBD gamer, and we were just talking about when you ship things down to the client, you end up shipping more than you actually need, right? Like in Blazor, when you decide here are the things that I want to put in Blazor WebAssembly, right? And the same goes for JavaScript and CSS and fonts and the other static resources. When you put things in that need to be downloaded, put things into your HTML that need to be downloaded and used in the browser, you're increasing the amount of time that folks have to wait before your page is rendered appropriately. So when you're doing this with WebAssembly with Blazor, that's more code that needs to be downloaded. And there's a temptation with Blazor components to download and put down too many components for what you actually need, or to bring down view models or a core reference assembly that you use throughout your application that has more than you actually need. Now, Blazor will do an attempt at tree shaking and reducing the amount of code that gets shipped there. Redux.
Subscribed for 8 months. What's the charity being supported at the moment?
American Cancer Society. We're going to find a new one for February. The compiler, the C# compiler, tries to tree shake and remove things that you don't need for WebAssembly. However, components still come down. It still builds, and there are still components in there that do arrive. And you can do things like lazy loading to space out when things are actually loaded and brought in. You can do that. However, working with CSS and JavaScript, there are tools out there that will analyze and purge and remove content that you don't need. And I started analyzing and tinkering with this, and there were a couple of nice libraries out there that I was looking at that are on NPM that you could download. Particularly, there were two I was looking at, one called Purify and one called Purge. And these look at your HTML, look at the classes and tags and CSS selectors that you have, and they remove and clean up content that you don't need. Very cool. I tried pointing them at .razor files and say, well, just go analyze these and remove the things that we don't need. And no. They did not work with Razor. Now, somebody on Twitter reached out and said, well, if you run it at the command line with a script, I think it was Purge, will work with .razor files, but it won't work on the command line. I got that message about 48 hours after I started tinkering and was like, look, there's a couple libraries out there that analyze and read CSS with C#, analyze and read HTML with C#. So I started just a simple console project that would run my application, open up a HTTP client to that connection, download and read all the rendered HTML, and check to see what CSS was actually used and remove the CSS rules that were not needed. Simple project. I could do the same thing by browsing and analyzing the Razor files, but I wanted to do let's just analyze HTML. Worked pretty good. So I'm tinkering with that. As I get a little bit further with it, I think I might even be able to go to the Purge CSS and look at that. I don't know. But it was something that I was tinkering with, and it was that I didn't ask permission. It's something that I haven't done before. Let's tinker and see what we find. And it was fun. It took me a half hour, 45 minutes to put something together that kind of worked. But we'll see how it goes. Do I remember you? Let me look. You've been here a bit on and off. You've been here on and off over the past month. Yeah. Yeah. Have a good one, TBD gamer. Take care. Doe Paris trying Blazor. See, I keep getting SSR, the acronym for SSR, wrong. Static server rendered component models compelling over classic MVC. It is. Blazor SSR is really good, and with the enhanced navigation capabilities, it feels smooth. It feels easy to use. Definitely lean into that where you can, because you can output cache that stuff to the nines, and it'll run really, really nicely. I do that with the C# in the Cards website. I am behind on publishing episodes for that. I've been writing the new content. Like I said, I was away this weekend. I had some other projects from Microsoft I was working on last week, but I'm ramping up for publishing. I want to publish 2 episodes this week. I'm going to get 2 in the can so I can publish them next week while I'm in Sweden, while I'm in Stockholm. So I want to get at least that much. I think I can get more done because I'm in an area of content where I have a lot written already. So, all right. Okay. So, how are you, friends? How are things? We are nearing the end of January here, right? It's, what day is it? Why doesn't it tell me? There it is, the 30th. Just a few more days. I'm not on the ARM device. I loaned out my keyboard that I use with it, so we'll work here locally on Windows. We're also cranking away on Tags app. I feel like we're really close to being finished the migration. I got into a conversation yesterday. I spent a good half hour talking to our friend Dan Roth from the Blazor team. Dan's the program manager in charge of Blazor. And I was talking to him about SignalR with Blazor Interactive Server rendered. And he gets it. He gets why we want to use it. He also gets why it's kind of weird. There's more discussion to have there. So, some of the things that we're doing to try and keep a connection open, yeah, people are running into that too. So, so when you're doing Blazor Interactive Server, so Blazor Interactive Server is a way for your content to run on a server. However, it keeps a channel open to the browser so that as folks interact in the browser, the server, it is actually doing the processing, right? It sends very small packets of information back and forth that update the browser appropriately. However, when you do that with SignalR, our live updating framework, things don't behave as nicely. The interaction that happens there isn't as nice as when you're running in the browser. We needed to kind of work around that to make some of Tags app work with Blazor. I think there's more to do there when we look at how Tags app is putting content live in the browser. We're gonna need to push and lean on that a little bit. Thank you for the follow. How big is the Blazor team? It seems it must be huge with all the amazing stuff they come up with, asks PC Nerd. It's not that big. It's not that big. I can't give you an exact number, but I can tell you there's a couple of program managers on it. Folks are very familiar with Dan Roth and Steve Sanderson as 2 lead program managers on it. Actually, Steve's a little bit of an engineer as well. So, but there's more folks working on Blazor than there were in the past. That's about all I can say about it. I'm not sure I can share exact numbers of how many folks are working on it, but it's a good sized team. No, there are not tons of people working on it. Nope. How you doing there, Scooby? You're a full stack developer. That's cool. How do I plan to go forward with the migration today? So, we got Mastodon and Twitch working, being able to push data into Tags app. I'm going to lean into that a little bit more today, and I want to take a look at how SignalR is pushing messages live on screen. There you go. I don't know why it's not playing the music anymore. I don't know what... I'm not quite sure what happened there. Let me see. I do need to... Where the heck is... There's Docker. I need to turn back on the database. There we go. And let's head over to the code and start talking through what we're going to work on here today. You felt like Maui was understaffed? I've said before, Maui is easily the most political framework that Microsoft runs because they're building and targeting 3 different user interface systems: WinUI, macOS, and before iOS and Android. In doing that, the Android, macOS, and iOS folks, I think the word I would use is they're hostile towards folks that want to integrate with their development platforms, because those organizations would rather you use their native tools. And while they tolerate folks that build with other tool sets, they would rather you use their tools. They don't really. They just get their payment to be able to deliver content that runs on their platform, and they're happy. So the challenge that they face is that they're pulled in 4 different directions. So they abstract away so much of their work, and then they have to fight these implementation challenges that are unique and different on each of the platforms. So theoretically, Maui should have 4 teams that are just working on the user interfaces for those 4 different operating systems, theoretically. And they don't. They work hard to get around there. So I have no idea, Jeremy. I don't work on EF Core. Is that something that's been announced for .NET 9? And what kind of scenario are you in where you need multiple result sets? Linux is great. Okay. If you enjoy it, that's great. I've been enjoying developing and running on Windows. I enjoyed writing on Linux at times, but I prefer running on Windows. APK with Android has been a breeze. I've absolutely seen that Android development on .NET Maui has been significantly easier. And right, part of that is right. Part of that is the Google folks aren't purposely trying to harm folks that are trying to integrate with them. Right, they're not making these large shifts to try and break other components, because they build Flutter. They want folks to be able to build and work with them. So, how many Microsoft people are working on Azure? Tons. Because Azure is just a product area, and there's how many services and products that run on Azure. Just like I'm sure at Amazon, there are tons of folks that work on AWS. Azure and AWS are profit centers. They're products that you pay for. You want to use Azure, you want to use the cloud services, you pay for it. Things like .NET Maui, C#, ASP.NET, Blazor, they're all free. Free and open source. So the folks that work on those products need to create value in those products that rolls up and corresponds to a product that is paid for so that they can have their salary covered. This is how business works. You make a product, you provide a service or some combination that people pay for so that you can get paid. That's kind of how this works. So that's why you see a lot of, hey, look at how easy it is to do Azure so-and-so with .NET, with Visual Studio Code. Because they got to justify their paycheck. And if they can roll up and say, hey, there's a companion Azure service here that makes this task a lot easier to do, and that's business. You see AWS folks doing that. You see Google folks doing that. Look it up. So I don't know if that's in .NET 9. You're looking to do a Maui conversion around .NET 9. Okay, cool. Did I see the EU ruling coming into effect in May this year? Which EU? Regarding the iOS App Store? Yes. And a lot of folks are not thrilled with it. Because on the flip side of the iOS App Store issue is Apple is rolling out a term of service just like Unity was rolling out, where after N number of downloads, you as the developer have to start paying for the downloads. Whoa, wait a sec. Hang on. That's what literally burnt Unity to the ground. If you're taking a 30% of the fees for a product, yeah, I shouldn't have to pay for downloads. If I'm publishing a product for free, okay, I can see after the first million having to chip in and help with the downloads. I can, or whatever the number is, I can see that. So, I don't know why that was blocked. Using MSIX with Maui for Windows took a bit to get head around. No, it should work nicely. Hey, Fishbelly on Twitch. A business with employees has to sell products so they can pay? Yes. Right? We can't all run on donations like YouTube channels and Twitch channels. iOS is like, even if you want your buddy to test your app on the iPhone without having the iPhone in hand. Yeah, that's right, Deflux. Yeah, they want a developer fee for anybody who wants to sideload an app. And it's their ecosystem, it's their product. They can do that. And if you don't like that, you don't have to pay that. But it's their ecosystem, it's their product. They can charge and set up whatever fees to interact with their product. They can do that. Is it anti-competitive? No, it's not. And quite frankly, I don't think it's anti-competitive that they have a dedicated app store for their product. I don't. I think some of the decisions they've made as part of running that app store are anti-competitive. But running an app store, hey, you want something to run on here? Here's where you go. They've set up and established features, capabilities that are quite admirable, and for the past 10 years, everybody has benefited from. Folks that don't like their fees and rules. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And wanting to be able to compete on their device, that's where they're running into a problem. Microsoft wants to be able to run Xbox games on iPhones, and they're saying you can't do that. Well, Epic wants to be able to run their own games and have their own model in store without having to pay millions of dollars to Apple. That's the anti-competitive nature of Apple's App Store. Yeah, all the fees go to them, nobody else. That's where there's a problem. Cost per download has its limits that I can understand. Look, who do you think's paying for you to download and watch this video? Who do you think's paying for that? If you're making millions on the platform, I don't quite understand what you're saying there. I always had to make loading apps onto its platform easier and less App Store centric. I'm not 100% familiar with exactly what the ruling was. I've read some of the summary articles and what folks want to be able to do running their own app stores over there, particularly Epic Games. The folks that make Fortnite want to run their own app store. Microsoft wants to be able to run the Xbox Games app over there, so you can download and use your Xbox Game subscription, which directly competes with Apple's arcade subscription, which is a violation of Apple's terms of service, to which that is clearly anti-competitive. So, the fact that it's strictly in EU terms of service and it doesn't apply the rest of the world is quite damning. Why would you as a dev need to pay for something free and went viral? Because somebody has, at the end of the day, somebody has to pay for the network. Somebody has to pay for that thing to be transferred. Network bits are not free. I don't know if you know this. Bandwidth is not free. Bandwidth does not have zero cost. I have a handful of websites that I run, and I pay for the bandwidth that folks download content on that. If you run a website, you pay for the bandwidth, the amount of bits that you ship across the wire to folks. This is one of the reasons why podcast platforms and podcasters try to avoid having to pay for their own bandwidth. This is why you don't see folks serving podcasts from like Azure storage. They'll go and they'll piggyback on like Spotify and different places that, yeah, we'll take care of and serve, and we'll insert advertising to pay for the bandwidth to ship your audio, right? Or posting things on YouTube. I don't care. I don't have to pay for delivery of that. You watch an advertisement that picks up some of the bandwidth cost. It costs money to ship bits. Trying to code for Maui that you need to determine the Japanese. I'm sorry, I can't focus and understand exactly what you're describing there, Deflux. Microsoft has done it right with MSIX, and MPK has done it right, allowing MDM. Yeah, the Apple App Store does a quality control check, and the distribution has been really nice, but the anti-competitive rules that they've put in place are not great. Right, and Jeremy, that's right. That's what's coming in May. We'll see. Why are you comparing a 20 meg app with a podcast? How much space do you think a podcast takes up? A 15, 20 minute podcast. How much space do you think that takes up? And folks download those. You have to pay for the storage of how much it costs to have that thing sit at rest. and then to ship it across the wire to somebody. How much space do you think? Right. Let's just go. Let's go to our friends.net rocks here. It's just a podcast. So if we go here, oh, where's the download button? Feed. Yeah, show me the feed. So if we go, right, look at that. It's coming off of somebody else. Right. I wanted to go. I know the Aspire one was a decent length.
Introducing Wondersuite.
Yes, I know. Thank you. Sure. Save page as, and it should give me the ability to download. Yeah, that's fine. Save. 58 meg for a 1 hour podcast. So dialing that back for, if it's 58 meg, then it's about, call it 25, 30 meg for a half hour. 20 minutes is, right, about, if it's about a meg a minute, right, 20-minute podcast, 20 meg. So while the app is a one-time 20 meg, podcasts are being, just as Apple has to pay to ship that 20 meg to you, somebody has to pay to ship that 30 meg, 50 meg podcast to you. So streaming apps won't send that same amount. Oh, tell me more. We're listening to Spotify right now. How much bandwidth do you think they're going to send me over the course of this? How many bits do you think they're going to send me over the course of this 4-hour stream? What do you think? Like, did it say how big the file was? I didn't think it reported how big the file was. Did it? Like, I don't think it says the file size there, does it? It says keywords. I don't think that's... Oh, length right there. Duh. Thank you. 57, 58 meg. 46 meg. There's a big one. Right, that's an hour 52 and it's 107 meg. Right? Hour 47 for another Geek Out and it's 102 meg. So... Carl and Richard are friends. We've had them on the stream a couple times. So. Depends on if it's cached or not. Okay. You're referring to cache with a service like Cloudflare, a CDN. You still have to pay for the CDN. Sometimes the CDN costs even more. Like, right? Networking. No, let's not do that. Let's go back up here. Let's look at Azure storage. Yeah. And I don't care about capacity. You know, whatever, 10 gigabytes. Right? 21 cents for just that storage, write operations, read operations. So let's say you're really popular and you served 1 million requests. That's going to cost you 50 cents just for the read. Okay. Data retrieval, no. Data write, no. So, right, that's not a lot, but it's not showing the network either. Because there is a network fee. Yeah, no, thanks. Goodbye. No, where is it? There's a network fee. no, go away. You go away. Just storage. Where is it? I know if we look at app service, right? There's a... Why aren't they showing the network fees? The bandwidth. It's spelled right. What the heck? Why can't I type? Yeah, bandwidth. There we go. You go away. Bandwidth. 5 gigabytes free, but if we're talking about a million requests of 20 megabytes, right? That's 20 times a million. 20 megabytes times a million is 20 terabytes. So gigabytes is going to be 20,000. That's your network cost. Okay? To send a million requests in 1 month using Azure bandwidth pricing. That's not cheap. At $100 a year, if it served your 20 meg app a million times, that's roughly their cost, considering that all of the cloud vendors have similar data transfer pricing. That's not cheap. They lost $1,600 American on you. On just you. Now, there's millions of apps in the App Store. If 1,000 of them are in that million download range, then that's 1.6 million. That's real money. That's not, oh, you're so cheap. No, that's 1.6 million. You stream a ton of Pandora and your phone says you've streamed 3.5 gig of music. Right. In Azure pricing, Azure would give just you, Weird Beard Dev, that's free. But Pandora doesn't have just one customer. Right? They've probably got 40,000 customers. And for Pandora, are they making more than $3,400 in advertising over the course of the month? Probably. Plus, you may have a subscription and whatnot, and it offsets and lowers that and helps pay for their other, pays for, right, staffing and other fees. So, yeah, my gosh, that was, Reg, you're right. With AT&T billed all charges on an iPhone. Yeah. What do you mean there shouldn't be a network fee? Somebody has to pay for bits to travel across the network. And the fact that Apple has done it for the 30% of paid apps for a very long time, okay, that's an okay trade-off. But for free apps, yeah, that's a problem. When you order a physical product from Amazon, you pay for shipping. Yep, that's right. Hey, Thindall, hello. Even if you front it with a CDN. Content Delivery Network. Right? So, sure. And we're going to send to North America, Europe. If we send just 20 gigabytes, it still costs you $1.62. If I front just that first 5 gigabytes, it's 40 cents. Not bad. We're on the plus side. We're making money. Okay. Right? Somebody has to pay for this stuff at the end of the day. It doesn't just get available for free. there is, and this was something that I ran into with ClipTalk. There is a tipping point where you reach a mass of data and transfer that it costs money, and you need to charge and get investment somewhere to pay for that. Hey, Mythin, you have a question about Azure? Came across one of the tutorials for resizing images using Azure functions. Yes. You're failing to see where the actual conversion happens. It happens in the function. It happens in the function. So there's a trigger in one of those demos that you see. Open PowerPoint. When you look at a demo that is saying, hey, you know, we're going to do image resizing using Azure functions. So there is, right? And, right? You're going to upload image. And what that's going to do is, right? Hey there. Thank you for the follow. Rivenoff. Shoot. Open this thing up. Where's the database can? Give me the can. That didn't sound right. Right. So you're going to upload, and where's the, right? So this is going to be typically Azure storage. Thank you. At least according to the demos, right? So, right, we're going to do a thing where we're going to go, no, not that way. Right, something like this. Right, so we're doing that, and give me back to the shapes. Right, so you do your they're doing their upload into Azure Storage. But what's really cool is, right, there's an Azure function over here. That has a blob trigger. Right? And that Azure function is what's going to do... no, I don't want that. Right? At least this is what I did with all the content from Twitch for ClipTalk. This is what we did. So, and close that on the side. There we go. That still didn't work. No, I want to... There. So the blob trigger is what fires the function and comes back through and does the create thumbnail. You should see some sort of blob trigger in the functions in that demo. One Punch Max says, what I'm highlighting is something that management doesn't understand. The cloud is not cheap. So that's... And that's something that I want to make sure is clearer to folks, One Punch Mac. And there was... We got a question, was it early last week? About how do we estimate the costs for moving something over to Azure. Hey, I've got this application that we built. It's running right now in our data center. I want to put it out on the big Azure cloud so that it's easier for folks, not just in my Eastern US office to use it, but I also want the folks in the Northern Ireland office and the folks in the Bangkok office to also be able to access it. So we're going to replicate it in 3 data centers in Southeast Asia, East US, and Northern Europe, and put one database out there so they all can connect and work with that and have this nice architecture. How do I do that? How do we do that cost estimation of deploying and running it in these 3 places with one database, or maybe multiple databases that are read-only replicas local to those data centers? that is where things like this Azure pricing tool help. And this is great for the accounting folks, for the finance folks to be able to go through, but they need to understand what all goes into each one of these things. Because if you have a typical finance person come in who doesn't understand what all of these things are, they're going to look at bandwidth and they're going to say, well, I don't need to send any data out to the network, out to the internet. So I don't care. There it is. No, you may be sending more out. Especially if you're going to set up a VPN and dedicate things, then a little bit of this configuration becomes more interesting and also more expensive. How you doing there? Is it Ara Morty? Welcome. So, the internet is a series of tubes. Oh, don't get me started about that guy. We're 20 years into free services and no one understands it. You're right. Free services. Yeah. Right? Like, this is what illicit drug dealers do. They do the exact same thing. Hey, give you the first couple meg free, and if you get popular, then we'll charge. Yeah, that tutorial in the Microsoft Docs could do a better job of explaining where and how the triggers ran. If Apple ran this, it would cost 3 times as much. It would have a skeuomorphic design on it that you're paying extra for because it is fine tailored bits that you're seeing. Yes. You need to pay for that? Raid Shadow Legends. That's right. Oh dear Lord. Raid Shadow Legends is a lot. Is it possible to create ChatGPT type LLM that is trained on the information you feed it? Yes. That's what Azure OpenAI is, combined with something like semantic kernel. Yeah. Train it on exactly your data to be able to call your own functions and improve workflow specific to your model. Yep. And I'm spending time learning this because I want to take the Fritz bot and have it use this instead. So that's exactly what you do, PC Nerd, is button up and run with that. Nah, Copilot's different. Why? No, you're wrong again there, AutoMod. And why won't you let me accept that? Expired. Okay. You haven't seen how far you can take ML.NET. ML.NET is nice for smaller models. What did Thor do a bit on? About free services? My head is in the way. Yeah, Onyx is in the supported list. Buying versus renting. Yep. Tired of hard drives failing? Exactly. Rent it. Right. Do you know? Think about how many millions of hard drives, billions of hard drives run YouTube. Think about, if you're watching this on YouTube, where do you think they put the video? There's a boxy thing with a hard drive in it that they're being written to. And they don't write to just one hard drive. They write to several because hard drives fail. And instead of pulling them out and copying things back over, they literally just drop in more all the time. And it just resyncs and rebalances replicas everywhere. Like, so, had several hundreds of terabytes of data to move to Azure. Yeah, Reg, you're right. That let me head back over so we can talk to chat there. You're right. And Amazon and Google will do this also. If you have dozens of terabytes, hundreds of terabytes, like Reg is explaining there, they give you a device to copy everything over to, because at that point, The Postal Service is, or FedEx, shipping service is cheaper than pushing it over the wire and faster. Bandwidth, what's that and why would you spend that? Hey, Junie, doesn't match the budget. Right. When you get to the point that you need to budget for and allocate budget for budget, you've got a good problem. You've got a good problem, right? I mean, we were showing there on the pricing, what it was, if I had to ship 40 gigabytes, 50 gigabytes of data, that it was going to cost me 50 cents. Like, going back to the 20 meg app that you're shipping, that's, you're shipping 2,000 copies. If you're charging a couple bucks, or even if you're not charging a couple bucks, right? If you have advertising running in it or something, right? That 40 cents, it's still less than a cup of coffee per month. You're in great shape. You're in great shape. But when that goes up, that price goes up too. So that's when you need to be monetizing your product. So you can imagine Bill Gates in the 80s with those free samples. That's why they let folks build and deploy and run things on Windows for free or on DOS. Like, there was no fee to run things on the operating systems that they were charging you for, so that everybody would build and run things on it because it just ran everywhere easily. And it came with your computer. So they were giving it to you. They weren't charging any money for you to build on it. They were charging you for the premium tools that you wanted to use when Visual C++ came out, Visual Basic. They were charging premium fees for those, to be sure. And now it's all free. Please send yeah. RAG is something a lot of folks are working on. Oh, the block in the corner. Okay, I moved the diagram a little bit there at the end. You think your total bill is hundreds for a mid-sized virtual machine for a solo company, some blob storage, Azure SQL, and a VPN gateway. Yeah, that's not bad when you look at the other side of buying a server to do those things, right? Buying a server is going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars, right? I mean, you could probably get away with $4,000 or $5,000 for a beefy desktop to handle and do some of those things. But a full server that you want to be able to scale up and scale down and turn off at the end of the night because it's just a solo company, yeah, there's ways to do that. They rent failed hard drives too? They do. Tell me more. Wonder if Azure has a thing like Amazon Glacier where you can send a shipping container. You can. They do. They do have long-term storage. Do I have any advice on bad ways of teaching CSS courses? I'm a big fan of trial and error and tinkering. That's why the lessons that you see for the C# and the Card series are all in notebooks, so you can tinker and break things. I need to record a episode for it that is just, here's how to use the notebooks. Or here's how to download and tinker with this content locally. Hylocomium, what is the megabytes per second of USPS? That's a great question. There's got to be a way to figure that out, right? If we were to try and figure out the megabytes per second of the U.S. Postal Service and the fee for that. I want to zoom in on that for just a second. What are the megabytes per second of the U.S. Postal Service? Let's think about that. This is a fun little, right? USPS, right? Is it USPS Gov or USPS Com? Why is it Com? I want to do overnight shipping. Right? If I want to do overnight shipping. Yeah. Priority Mail Express. Next day to one. Yes, yeah. Sure. Show me that. How much does it cost? Priority Mail Express. There we go. So if we're sending a hard drive, don't have a hard drive or a thumb drive right here handy. That's a video adapter, but whatever. Right? Or even little SD chip. Right? So if I was sending that I don't need to send a huge box. Right? Price files? No. $100 of insurance. I'd probably want more insurance than that. Sure, calculator price. Tell me something here. Where are we mailing from? I don't know. I want a flat rate box. Right? What's New York zip code? Right? Just give me one in New York City. I don't care. 10001. Right? And if we want to ship it to Los Angeles, right? Like, let's just go all the way. 90011. Right? Sure, whatever. Cremated remains? No. And give me a flat rate box on that. Right? So, no, not a parcel locker. Right? Expected delivery day the 1st. Yeah, that's 2 days out. Okay. So let's call it $10. Right? To go at normal delivery time, $10 American. So, and we can ship up to how much in one of those boxes, right? So, in the smallest one here, 8 by 5 by 1. So, how big is a hard drive? Right? What are the dimensions for a hard drive? Right, just a standard spinning rust hard drive. Sure. Everything I want to know about hard drives. Tell me. No. Right, it's 3.5 inch by what? 4 inches? Right? So if it's 3 by 4, then in an 8 by 5 by 1 box. By 1, is that right? So we can probably fit 4 drives in there. Right? If we can fit 4 drives in there, what's the maximum hard drive size? In July 2023, that's 6 terabyte. 30 terabyte. There's SSDs that have surpassed with a 100 terabyte model. I don't think I would ship an SSD, though. I think I would ship a mechanical drive. 22 terabytes. Let's say it's 30 terabytes. So if I can fit 4 drives in a box for $10, that's 120 terabytes that it's shipping, and it would arrive Thursday, right? So over the course of 48 hours, it would ship 120 terabytes. Break out Excel. Right? So if we're shipping 120 terabytes, that's 120, let's call it 120,000 gigabytes, right? Equals 120, give it 1024, fine. So that's gigabytes. That's megabytes in 48 hours, right? So 48 hours is, right, is how many, is 60 minutes, 60 seconds. So that megabytes divided by that seconds, that's 728 megabytes per second is the speed of shipping that, right? In the smallest box, four 30 terabyte hard drives from New York to Los Angeles, 728 megabyte per second, give or take. Oh yeah, you got to fill it. Well, assuming the drives are filled because they're backups, right? Maybe you've got a RAID array and you're just pulling out a couple of the drives that you're going to ship so it can recreate the array somewhere else, and you're going to just slide in new drives and they'll remirror over to it. From Mythin, there you go. How much hardware capacity you need? Well, hardware capacity is a whole different consideration on hardware capacity, because we don't know how much your application is used. When we know how much your application is used, then we can judge hardware capacity. So today's intro is a little bit longer, totally. Continuing scroll through here. What about public Mastodon? To host what locally? How much data is encoded on a cardboard box? Interesting. It is high delay, yes. But the spinning rust, absolutely. 4 by 6 inches. We could. Yeah, you're not going to fit 4 drives in. You're still going to fit 4 drives in there because it's 1 inch the other way, right? But then you ship 2 boxes, right? Costs $20, and right, and then this is just for 1 box. As soon as you ship another box, right, that bandwidth goes up, right? That is infinitely scalable. That's for 1 box at $10. So if you need to ship more than 120 terabytes, you have to ship 480 terabytes, right? No. Equals 480 times 1024. You're now shipping 2.9 terabytes. Right, if it's just a bigger box, right? You're shipping, 2.9 terabytes a second. And it's 4 boxes instead. And $50 to ship that? Do it. Do it! Yeah, those drives are not cheap. So while it would be $50 for 4 boxes, you'd probably put insurance on those, and who cares if it costs $200? You're shipping your data. You want that stuff insured. I don't know if folks would ship an SSD and expect it to reliably arrive and do that type of backup and restore. So, oh no, you can't do async read and write. No, this is backup storage, right? This is this is also the kind of thing where folks, there's a service, Iron Mountain, that a lot of folks use in this area. I don't know if they're global or whatever, but they literally come by and they take extra drives out of the RAID array that have been mirrored to, and they slide in other drives, take them back, and they literally store them underground in backup storage location off-site, and that's how you do your backup. And then the other drives get mirrored, brought back up to date, and you're off and running, and your servers are doing their thing. So, do I have any advice? What? Yeah, shipping drives around. Once you get outside of a couple hundred terabytes, The first 100 terabytes, it's cheaper to just ship drives. So 1,000 terabyte SSD, yeah, that is an exabyte. Exabyte? No, petabyte. 1,000 terabytes is a petabyte. Right? After petabytes is exabytes, I thought. Are we going to get beyond petabytes in our lifetime? I don't know how I stored this much stuff. There are 128 terabyte SD cards? Really? New SD cards specs tout 128 terabyte max. Are you kidding? In 2018. Hang on. SD Express promises those back in 2018. Do you have a terabyte SD card? Terabyte SD card. So, okay, let's say you shipped SD cards, which are highly unreliable. I would not trust an SD card with enterprise storage. Like, these get to be a problem. You can get a 128 terabyte SD card and show me. 1.5 terabytes on a micron, the biggest, 1.5 terabytes for $500. Terabyte, you go away. SanDisk with a terabyte, a terabyte. Like, the SD cards are highly unreliable. And if you're writing that much data to the SD card, squirrel, you're going to, very squirrel. You're going to have issues because they can only do so many writes and then they fail. And they fail hard. Up to 2 gig. 32 gig. Okay, so promising up to 128 terabytes. Promising. But you're not going to put enterprise storage on this. You're not. Because of the reliability here. Yeah, a RAID 5 with 1,000 SD cards? No. Like, the biggest problem with the Raspberry Pi array, the Raspberry Pi tower that I had, was the SD cards fail quickly. Of the 6 SD cards that were in the array, all of them failed twice over the course of a month. Like, if you want to deliver 100 SD cards and each costs $500, yeah, you're going to hire Johnny Mnemonic to move that data. I appreciate the thought exercise. That was fun. Let's write some code. Like, don't get me wrong. Taking pictures and other storage on your phone or something where I don't care if that drive dies, when you're doing many writes to it, the SD cards are going to fail. They are. So, let me dive in. Let me open Tags app back up here, and we can get in here and get some stuff written. It's been an hour and a half. I do enjoy the conversation. Let's get some code built, huh? Come on. I'm not sure what happened over the last month, but our viewership is down almost 50%, and I don't know why. Like, I'm seeing the same folks, but our concurrent viewers is off significantly. So, not sure what's going on there. I completely forgot where we left off, so I'm just going to run the app and see what happens. Hey, Jedi Mega Man. So, I'm definitely going to be promoting and pushing more content here. Yeah, viewership is off significantly, and I'm not sure why. Oh, this. Yeah, we're going to... And I got into an argument with folks about this part here. This. Yeah, we're going to look at that in a second. But this right here. This is pointing to... This error is pointing to a generated page. Right? See it here, razor.g.cs. So the discussion, the argument is, as a developer, I'm not editing that generated code. It's nice to be able to look into it. But I can't double-click and jump into that file. So why are you even telling me this? Like, if I could double-click and navigate to it, okay, that's one thing. But it's generated code. I don't care. That is a problem because of this. So don't show me that. Same thing with wanting to be able to navigate into... It's this right here. Like, these things, I want to be able to navigate to that. Don't show me the generated code for that. I don't need that. Is there a way to display generated code so you can jump into it? No. No. So for some folks that are writing the code generators, yeah, that's a problem. For those of us that aren't writing the code generators but are using them, I don't care. Hide that crap. Hide it. I don't want to see it. So, yeah, you used to be able to, but give me a switch to turn that on and off. They moved where the temp files are stored for the Blazor components. What's happening here is there's a block of default headers. I'll just comment this out for right now. That it's trying to bind to. That I wanted to make this into a component offline. That's what's going on here. That might be a fun component to build. Hey Warren, a switch per project? Yeah, I could see that. Sure. Sure. And have a default setting in Visual Studio that says, hey, turn this feature on, turn this feature off. Yeah. Log me in. Da, da, da. Yeah. Of course you don't remember who I am. Log in. Okay. So now if I go over to admin, we look at providers, Mastodon, there's the content. And default headers, that's the wrong control, but we're going to fix that. That's what we're going to work on. So if I go over to moderation, look at all the content. Just a CS proj property, yeah, right. So content loads, but it does not push, right? Doesn't push new messages on screen. And actually, the providers bit here isn't quite working on the moderation screen. When I go over to waterfall, ta-da! Because new stuff isn't approved, it's not pushed over here. But we're going to run into more issues with SignalR there. Oh, just you wait. So we have to refresh to get new content to appear here. It's not just appearing as new folks type. That's a problem. Tree is seeking something interesting, something in .NET. Tree has worked in .NET before. It was nice. Tree would like to return to that. A lonely tree. Okay. So the piece that I wanted to write was a component to do the default headers here. Default headers is a dictionary. It's a collection of keys and values, but it's a dictionary collection that grows, and we want to allocate values appropriately for however many entries we want in this little default headers entry. So what I'd really like to do is to put right here is a let's call this input dictionary, right? And value equals model default headers, right? That's the kind of thing I want to do, and I want to have it build and allow it to expand and create entries appropriately. So let's create that component. Now, this lives inside of providers.razor, which is an interactive server page. So we're going to be able to update and move things around on the fly. I want to build this input dictionary component. So I'm going to go here inside my components folder, and I'm going to add input dictionary.razor. Razor? Sure.
Do it!
I did. Here we go. So, I don't need that up top. We had a value coming in, so we're going to have a parameter. Public. Yeah, it's going to be a dictionary of type string. No. It was called value. We're going to render some sort of a div. Input dictionary. I think that works. Something like that. And on parameter set, right? So as that dictionary object is set, now let's do. No, I think we can do this synchronously, right? I don't even think. Well, hang on. Maybe we don't need that. Let's think this through. So we're gonna have. I want to have a collection of pairs of text boxes that we're gonna bind back to rows in the dictionary, right? Oh, this is gonna be fun. So let's create a. I'm gonna create a table because it is a table. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. You need to close the TR there, buddy. All right. And then we're going to do something like this. Well, we can't bind. Yeah, we can't bind like that. That's not going to work. Right. So how do we put text boxes down that are going to have a value there, right? I mean, I could say value equals at item dot key, right? Value equals at item dot value, right? Just a list with a tuple, still can't do it. So that should give me the very basics of getting that working. Let's do this. Back over here. We're going to go into there. .NET Watch and let it run. We're going to end up building and having a component that will dynamically grow and throw all the values back over there. I do like Warren's idea and switch per project for working with the generic data. I do like that. I do. Here we go. I'm a big fan of just spinning up new components for stuff. Like, it just makes sense for me. Hey, you need to be able to do something? Great, here's a new component. Off we go. Because I can throw away components too, right? Key value, because it didn't pass anything in there, right? And I'm okay with that. So here's our input dictionary. So it has those headers. Let's put a class on this, John. Right? Hey, look at that. Not quite. Not quite. Right? It kind of busted out. What if we do this? Get rid of... now we kind of need a wrapper for ourselves, don't we? Take a look at the CSS real quick. See if we can see where we're violating here. Input dictionary, and then table. Don't know. Gonna move on. I'm gonna put in the T-foot. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah. And then I can do an on-click. No. Add row, right? So then I need a method, void add row. So then I can say value add, and I do need to give it a value. I can't give it just an empty string here. If I did do this as a list, can you use the syntax for each key value in value there? Why? If I did it a list with a tuple, for each... Oh, I see what you're saying. You want me to do a deconstructor. Like that. I don't think it'll let me bind. No. But the deconstructor there works, sure. When I'm adding a new value here, I need to give it a key. So let's give the first one, let's call it value count plus 1. Let's call this, yeah. Right, something like that. And then I can give it string empty. So, and that should give me a new box here. I don't like that. Let's put a placeholder on this. I feel like I may want to be able to replace those. But instead of doing this, what if we did this? Not quite. If value, I can do value count. Equals string dot empty, right? Then add a new value. Boop. But I can't add multiple. So that's not bad. Why not use the any? Sure. That's a great idea. Right? Boop. If not any, then go ahead and add one. There we go. Foo, bar, and now I can add another one. Oh, okay. So I've updated. I need to actually save that value back. You would add a pair of 2 inputs near the add button, so user has to set values before. Not bad. Okay, I see where you're going. Once these are updated, I need to put them right because I'm not binding. Right? On update, what is it? No, on change. Yeah. And I need to pass in the value. Legion Dev, hello.
Legion Dev just resubscribed for 3 months.
Thank you so much. 3 months with us, and I'll make a donation to the American Cancer Society. Well, on change has change event args, which should contain the value, if I remember correct. Update, let's say, update key. See, now, this one, different. No, on change fires when you leave it. Right? It's not update key. Yeah, okay. Wow. That's pretty good. Sure, show me what that does. No. Give me something here. Why aren't you giving me console right line? Thank you. Adding value. Adding key. Right, so actually, that's server side. So I don't know what you just did there. I think it's on key press. I don't want to do on key up. Right? I want to do it when you leave it. So if I do... No. Yeah, there isn't. I don't think I can do that. Oh, there is on blur. All right. What are the arguments? Yeah, it doesn't like that. Now, yeah, state has changed. We don't need because it's focus event args. So what do we have in there? No. Yeah, it's not going to show me the content of it. So use a custom class or record to store key and value so you can bind them. Even then, in a dictionary, you can't do it. What am I getting? It's not change. On focus out has the focus event args, but it what do we got if it's on input equals really? Change event args. And it has the value. Right, so in here, add adding key G. Key not present in the dictionary. Yeah. So that's picking up with each keystroke. Yeah, I've errored out the page at this point. What else do we have in there besides the value? No, that's it. On change wasn't giving us. Right, so hard refresh, jump in, add. Yeah, that is, I thought that was the one I want. Now it's saying the key is not present, so I don't have the old value. I think I want to do this index because I'm not allowing you to move these around. And then I can reach in and push the specific index on them. You know? So instead of doing for each, right? I less than value count. Right, so this then becomes, right? First key. but then I can make this. How can I grab that value and pass it in as another argument? One second. So I think I can do like this. Yeah. Right? Because then they're positional in the dictionary. I can for each across and update them. So I can do... Yeah. Yep, there we go. Sure. That should work. Should work, right? Just refreshed. Open that up. Add. Well, that's not going to work. Got to put the at in front of there, Fritz. Foo. Interesting, it's not letting me add. What's it running into here? Sequence contains no elements. Where is that? It's in update key. You're not going to give me the line number because it was patched. Rerun that. Hey, Aloo the Crow. A local copy of I inside the loop? Why do I need a local copy? How you doing there, Zartus? Removing nothing. No, it's there. There has to be a value there in order for it to appear. Right? Uh, 37. So the position it's skipping should be 0. Right? And grabbing the first item. It has an empty key. The key is the empty string. A local copy of I inside the loop. Right, that should be copied there. Right? Updating entry. Open that, add. Updating entry 1. Oh. It's not the local value. No. It's because I is the maximum value. It's not a local copy of it, as Blazor Mr. Magoo was pointing out. Right now I've got a copy of it. Right? That should have gotten a copy. Refresh the page. Updating entry 0. There we go. Got a copy of the value, right? That's that right there. Value type versus reference type. Ooh, man. So now there's a foo, right? I can add, and it'll give me a next one. But if I try and add now, it won't. And now it will. It wasn't passing an int by ref. The value of I had completed. The value of I was 1, not 0, because it had finished counting through the loop. So the value that we keep locally for that instance of the loop, we need to copy and keep available. Now, we can clean this up a little bit. Public string key caption, something like that. And over here, I don't know. Caption's probably the wrong. Maybe it should be like label. I don't know. So when we talk about headers, it is right. I think it's header and value. Like if we look over here at network, right, and we look in one of these requests. Right, it doesn't say, and if we want to resend, we can specify additional headers here. Name and value is what they call them. So let's call that name, and I'll just leave that as is. And I just deleted it by accident because I'm, yes it does. I just created that. You need to reload. Come on. Yes, it does. What? I don't need to put the at in front of it. That's why. Much better. So now I have name value. So now I need to do the value so that it saves the value. Well, the value should be easier to do, right? Actually, it's probably the same. Oh, I lost the quote. So we're going to do almost the exact same thing. Not going to remove kv.key equals ta-da. Foo and bar. So I should be able to. Why don't I use GraphQL? Because GraphQL is OData rewritten by Facebook. And for all the reasons that we don't use OData anymore, I don't use GraphQL. The int wasn't passed by ref. Yeah. OData is not used because folks don't use it because it takes power completely away from database administrators, and it prevents your database administrator from being able to optimize your database for database things. Like, you're literally giving complete control of how folks interact with your database to how folks call your APIs. That's a problem. Like, a database administrator that's worth their salt will eat your lunch for using GraphQL. That's why folks use GraphQL, is because they don't want to work with database administrators. Like, you don't see this? Putting in an API with a properly abstracted interaction with the database is going to allow your database administrators, your data analysis folks, to build and move and shape your data services and optimize how those things perform and distribute them. And your user interface, your APIs, don't know and don't care, for that matter. Does that need to change from bind to value? Oh, you're right. That should have been like this. So up in here, so I passed in, I need to, yeah, I passed in default headers there. And that should be able to come back to me here when I click save. So let's do this. Yeah. Just show me the content for right now. That is the required format. Where's timeout? 2 digits, 2 digits. I forgot the colon. Foo, bar, save. What do we got? Foo equals bar. So it's properly receiving it back. Nice. I'd really like the add button to be over here, maybe? I don't like it as a footer. Right. I mean, I guess it's okay for now. So now if I go back over to my Mastodon config, instead of having this, right? Get rid of all that. So where I was doing this check on that content, probably also want to remove any headers that have an empty string. I probably, right, I don't have any kind of remove button up here either. Oh, that's so good. Stop the music. Stop the music. Hang on right there. This is so good. I've got a table here with keys and values that I'm telling it to generate. Copilot recognized that I added an extra column here, and it suggested a remove button. Not just suggesting, hey, here's a button, but it gave me the appropriate CSS class for it also. It also suggested that the on-click, instead of going and figuring out and creating a method, just reach into the dictionary and remove that entry. And I'm just going to do a quick double check. The code looks good. Like, the code built Blazor content for me. Right? And a big old remove button there. And if I click remove, boom, gone. Right? Foo, bar, add another one here. Baz, I forget what the next one is. Whatever. Right? Oh, remove that one, remove this one. And it cleans up nicely. Copilot activated. Hot reload, updating the user interface automatically for me. Love it. Thank you, GitHub Copilot. Whoo. I have a missing TR there. Am I missing a TR? Where am I missing a TR? I'm missing an angle break right there. Somebody clip that, could you? Would you mind helping me out there, friends? So, not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, I like it. Thank you, Chris Jones. Your Copilot is broken, gives you the most useless recommendations to the point it just repeats what you wrote. I've run into that at times. I've run into that. But I think if there's extra entries, I want to trim those on the way back out. When I do a save configuration here, right? Yeah. Yeah. That works. So then if I want to save, right, to finish the exercise here, provider configuration, set configuration by key. I think that's it. Did it save? I guess. Break open the Azure Data Studio. Let's go digging in there. Something sounds wrong there, Temptic. Something sounds really wrong. Local container. And I want to get this back up and running. But there's a bunch of places where we need this same default headers key value pair configuration. It's not in tags, it's in Postgres. So I think we'll be able to look at that. That's a problem. There, Mastodon. And there's default header, serialized properly. Yes! Let's make sure it loads properly. So I'm going to navigate away, jump back in, open that up, and it looks correct. Let's go all the way out over here. I'm going to hard refresh the page, back into admin, back into providers, Mastodon. Looks good. Oh, friends, we got it.
Oh my.
Nice. Because there's a handful of places where I need this same type of feature laid out. So they are getting persisted back to the database, and they do look like, to Chris Jones' question, they do look like they're making the full loop. Deflux says, find Copilot and Visual Studio Code to be so much better than Copilot and Visual Studio. Tell me more. Having difference, mixing and matching is a lot easier in VS Code. Interesting, okay. So I think, okay, so this feels good. Oh, Panda.
Or Panda just resubscribed for 7 months.
7 months with us. Thank you so much. And I'll make another donation to the American Cancer Society. Much appreciate. We are 44 followers away from 23,000. Whew. And I'm out of coffee. And the only liquid I have to drink here is scotch. That's not good. We don't want to drink scotch. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy drinking a little bit of scotch, but I'm not drinking scotch while I'm streaming. I like that. I like that a lot. Saving that, Control F5, and to properly remove. Nice. Hey, Sean. We're doing well. You sometimes put the add button in the header row. And Bromanovich, that was what I was pondering. Right, if I move... Not the remove button. Hey there, President Not Sure.
Just resubscribed for 16 months.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. And I'll make another donation to the American Cancer Society. Is that decaf? No. Decaf. Decaf. That's like driving a Lamborghini with a potato in the exhaust. What are you doing? I don't need a footer if I put it up there. It should have spanned 3 columns. Yeah. Right? And I feel like a big old ad like that is kind of out of control. Kind of out of control. Seemed like a lot of work for what it should be a basic component. Can I extract that in some way so it's reusable? Yes, Vishak. Yes, I can. Button small to the classes, add and remove. What do we got? Is it just -SM? Is that it? I don't know. I don't think it made it any smaller. Can I make it even smaller, or like that? Is that a thing? No. I don't know, maybe it was. Doesn't see any smaller. I don't know. I feel like I could even make that a, what's it called? You know, a thing. A doodad. A font awesome thing. I could pull this out into its own component, its own shared component library. Right now it's inside of my client library. There is no XS, just a small. Okay, button small then. But are you seeing? No. You want to update? Sure, you go ahead and update. Back over here. I don't think that's getting any smaller. Are you like, hey, go away? Doesn't feel like it got any smaller. You know? Yep, there's Azure Data Studio. Back over here. That was a style. Like that? That looks like a less thing. It does look smaller, though. I'm guessing those are variables that it's picking up. I want to be over here, add a row. Yeah, that's not bad. That works. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Static input row below the header. User fills in the info, clicks add. Can totally see that. And this type of reusable component, I can certainly tell you what, for discussion, I'm okay with moving that out. Look at that, 19 projects. Ugh. Lots of projects. Lots and lots. Why is this taking so long? Razor class library. And let's call this tags app components. .NET 8, go. Right, there it is. I don't need these. Remove those. And I can just take input dictionary. No. No! Bad. No good, very bad. How dare you? Where'd it go? Common communication. Did it go like way down to the bottom? It did. Whatever. Input dictionary. So now I can go back up to here. And there we go. This is inside client. I'll go into imports. And now it knows what it is. So I picked it up, moved it out into a Razor component library, and I can use it over here. And I can also use it anywhere else. And that type of just general use component. There's what I'm talking about. It highlighted the Razor version, even though I can't, the generated version, even though I can't edit it, is out here, and we can just easily work with it. Completely isolated from the rest of the project. I'd like to put that. There we go. So now it's in right there. Okay. Good time to commit some code. Tags, app, components. Added an input dictionary and components library. So now, importantly, also by putting it out into a components library, if WebAssembly wants to use it, it'll still render and work the exact same way in WebAssembly. I can also use that inside of a server-side rendered, an SSR version as well, because it's just a component. It renders and runs the exact same way. So we've got our Mastodon configuration working properly here. Twitch chat, that content, and yes, you can see some of my content there, but you can't see all of it. Is there and running. So I do have the two base providers that work and drive this thing working. Say that. Yes, I did miss you, Thindall. Nah, I'm not going to push it to NuGet. I'm going to allow that message, but I'm not going to push it to NuGet. Maybe at some point in the future, but not right now. So this page, we need to wire up the automatic updates. So, right, so that as content arrives, as you type, and this is why I wanted to get the Twitch and Mastodon content working. So that you, chat, can help test this user interface. So that as content is created, it pops onto this page. And then we can add, and then we can go back and finish building the moderation buttons onto these components. Exactly, Nerd Herder. Just by chatting, you're going to help test the user interface. How cool is that? Right? What did I do? Components does not exist in namespace tags app. I added that. I added that reference. You just saw me add that reference. It's right there. Why is it giving it to me an error on this page that many times? Move the project into a solution file. No, that wasn't a disk folder. Components doesn't have a it doesn't have a reference to the common. All right. There's a global using that's out there. So components wasn't building. That should build and run. I've also got all my unit tests we need to move over. Hey, Julian. Hello. I'm watching the stream. There we go. Right. Added common reference to components. That's something that I should pull out and not include there. Yeah, so what I did was, what I have is I have a global using that's in, check this out. I have a global using that's in a directory properties. So that this global using is automatically added to every project. Consequently, for even projects that shouldn't reference comment, they still need to because they've got these using statements. So I may want to unwind that a little bit. So, what feedback? How you doing over there, YouTube? How's things? We are broadcasting live on both YouTube and the Twitch. You're watching the stream here, connected with remote desktop to another computer. Okay. Okay, so that's done. So I have Mastodon working. I have Twitch chat working, and we've got a framework for building the rest of our user interface provider configuration. I'm going to park that for right now. Right? I got that done so that we could test and push on the SignalR bits that automatically flow content onto the screen. Right? When I'm looking at the moderation screen here, as you key content into Twitch, it should automatically arrive here. And it doesn't. I've also got the ability that we want to put in here that we used to have of the moderation buttons that appear. There's now 3 moderation buttons that appear when you mouse over one of these, or if you're using keyboard navigation to get into them. Additionally, the providers entry here is not updated properly. Oh my gosh, Julian, that's very kind. Thank you. I'm the best. Well, I try. I'm trying. I'm working on it. I've got more that I want to do. I'm a little behind on the YouTube series that I want to record and push some content out on. I'm gonna have to shave and put on a better shirt for that when I record later today. But I want to record and get an episode published today. Like, I'm behind on that. I've been trying to do 2 episodes a week. I only got 1 episode published last week. I need to record and get more content shipped. So, right. So, let me take a look at this providers entry. See this right here? It should show icons for the enabled providers there, and it's not. It's not. So that's on the moderation. Where's the moderation screen? I forget where I put it. Like the waterfall page, I want to be all WebAssembly and running lightning fast on your machine. Like, go, you know? There we go. Layout, pages, moderation. Here it is. So it's interactive server and it's not pre-rendering. Right. I don't need it to pre-render. I'm not doing any kind of SEO. Navigate there and update and paint the stuff on the screen. Darn it. And right, that's appearing fine. That's appearing fine. The filters over here, we still need to wire up here. This bit right here. Messaging service.providers. Looks like it doesn't have any entries in there. So why don't I have my messaging providers? We changed the structure of this. Right? Oh man. And that was here. So it's not listed in the messaging service providers. So it adds the providers there. So in here, let's say like app. Right, it adds the providers. So let's say to write use providers. Right. Actually, I don't even need to do that. So if I add this as an extension method over here, that's not the right one. Here. Yeah. I don't need it to be async. Use providers. This app is a what? Web application. App.services get required service by messaging service. And the providers are right there. They're the iConfigure providers. When each one of these runs, it adds an iSocial media provider of that type. So if I go to the Postgres messaging, this is looking for the providers collection, which I don't see here anymore. So where's it getting that? Hang on, this doesn't implement iMessaging. Which does implement providers. Architecture stuff to the rescue. Yay! Postgres. This one. Oh, yes, look at that. And this is supposed to receive a collection of the iSocial media providers. It's not there. Hey, Perry. I did see your message. I need to get back to you. So it's creating, it should be injecting a collection of them. And in the base, it's not carrying them through. Oh no, it's right there. So if I go over here, passes in the social media providers and assigns them to the providers collection. So hang on. Should be there. I don't think I need to do this. Don't think I need this. Because it should just be there. So let's cancel that. Go to the Postgres. So when this is created, it should have providers there. Let's see what happens. Feeling stressed? Oh no. Come on, build. Darn it. Where'd it go? Still building. What are you building? Unable to copy. Oh, because it's still running. Hat not found. Well, when I'm looking away.
And knowing is half the battle.
Now it did it. Come on. There we go. Social media providers 2. So it does have the providers. And it's stashing those. Ta-da. Moderation. And it. Come here, you. Refresh. Yeah. It's got him. I'm not formatting the provider icon. That's what's going on right there. But I moved that. It's like map provider, something like that. Map provider to icon. Yes. It's in waterfall message. There it is. And it'll give me that. So and we're passing in I don't know, provider ID. Restart that, John. Here we go. I think we got it this time. I think we got it this time. Fire up the CSS, dive in. So, and I want to make sure you know, friends, as this is starting up, I am using a bit of our time together on these streams, learning and getting my feet underneath me. There we go. It's got the providers. Getting my feet underneath me for building with Blazor, because I am going to relaunch a C# with C# Fritz series on the Microsoft channels, teaching the basics of Blazor in those 2-hour formatted streams that we were doing for such a long time. They've asked me to come back. We're going to set up and schedule those and focus on an educational experience around teaching Blazor. So, and in that very interactive style that I think I'm known for. So that's what we're looking at here. Good. Okay, so we got that fixed. I don't know about that. But the rest of this, I feel like... Right, and if I refresh, there, your messages that you were just typing appear, but they should appear on their own with SignalR and the service we put out there, but they're not. So how do we... Right. there's a service out here that's listening, right? And this is all the stuff for filtering here. We'll get to that. But there is a service listening, and there's a heartbeat that should be firing in the background here that says, hey, I'm alive, I'm out here. And I'm okay with moderators having that. So, initializing content, yeah. New moderator, depart moderator, we've got that. Okay. So it looks like we haven't wired up new waterfall message. So when there's a new message and we have a different service that we're using out here that we built, do I really need another service, or where'd it go? To do that messaging. Here. On new moderator, depart moderator, so on and so forth. New content right here. And it's going to pass through. That should be getting called. Yeah, okay. So it's calling the on new content event. So we need to listen for this and push messages appropriately. Looks like is all that I'm missing here. So back up here. Moderation service. On new content. You're not going to let me create that, are you? And it's got new content args, right? On new content, object, sender, new content, args, and we're just going to update, right? Because args has content. So I should be able to just say, right, we have a sorted list here of moderation content model that has, right, all that stuff. And we can say to moderation content model from the content, and it'll convert it over. Missing a comma in my new method? Am I? Am I? Yep, I am. All right. So that sorted list up there, right? I should be able to just say content add args content. Isn't there a timestamp? Timestamp, yeah. Wants a date time offset, and that is a date time offset. Remember, date time offset has time zone built into it. So it gives you the most accurate way to reference and pick out a time when something happened, right? The actual event time when that happened. You can use date time, but when time zones and funny things like that come in, it gets weird. So to get everything aligned to the same time zone, to the same time that you're working with, use date time offset. And now moderation content model. So I should be able to say moderation content model to moderation content model args content. And I'll refresh the screen. It didn't show up. Now I need new content. Right. I know what I'm missing. When that content arrives, got to tell the screen to update. Give me some more content there, friends. It's not loading. What don't we like? We need to invoke. Rebuilding. Don't like that it goes all the way back and rebuilds the whole shebang. Like, all right. Nothing. I did use that. All new content 320. Man, that crashed. I guess I need to await. Is that going to... Hit it. Doesn't like it. Has the wrong return type. So if I make that async void, because it's an event handler. Yeah. I know I can't use task. I'm right. I'm in the mindset that I must use task. Must use task. There we go. Okay, I'm not doing the emote lookups, but it worked. It worked. Okay. I need to... On dispose, I need to... Right. On new content. Thank you. Is that gonna break it though? Give me some more content there, friends. Give me some more chat. Yeah, it still flows. Okay. We need to do the emote replace, but we've got new content. It works. Save it. Fixed updates on the moderation screen. That was a big update to get in there, right? Like, all of your Twitch chat is flowing through and appropriately landing there. I can go over to database, local container. Da, da, da. No, don't synthesize. Synthesize this. Where did... What's it doing? There's the content from way back when. No. There we go. And it's properly arriving. Good. Don't have the YouTube chat wired up. I'm actually going to take a different approach with YouTube chat. I've got a different idea to go with YouTube chat. So, what? But eventually we'll get YouTube chat in here as well, so we have one unified interaction here. I do want to fix that, how it kind of appears all with 0 height to start with, right? Is the name an @ name necessary for Twitch names? No. No. So if I go to the message card, where'd it go? So I'm on moderation, right? It's a moderation message that appears. Oh. We could say if content author username yeah, I know. Content. I want that to be a not. What the heck? You should be going right to the end. There we go. No. Huh? Author user. It's author. I'm on the second line. Author display name, author username, the second line. It should drop it. Well, it doesn't know what to do with that. There it goes. right? And if we get further back to, we don't have any recent content from, what's it called? Mastodon. So, I had a background music too loud, but couldn't ask me to make its volume a bit lower. Oh, good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. There was 3 buttons. There's approve, decline, and then there's like a more button that should appear on each one of these when you mouse over, right? We did this whole mouse over thing. Let's start reintroducing those moderator actions here. There's a strategy that I want to visit for that the strategy we were using for YouTube chat. I want to revisit, and quite frankly, I want to gut like a fish. And we're going to do something else. Because I found a strategy that other folks use that I think for our application is going to work just fine. Oh, you're right, Scott. Oh my gosh. If I did that, yeah. There it goes. I don't need to put the colon. Okay. So, right, that's on the moderation card. So, on a moderation message, it was on these, each one of these, that I want to have the ability to activate the overlay to approve, reject, and move things over to in other actions, further actions. There's also, it's like right in here, we wanted to put the automated moderation content. Yeah, we want to be able to do actual moderation. That's right, Dr. Cox. So I want to pass in to the moderation message. I feel like, yeah, okay. I want to pass in an event callback. If I'm doing the moderation from here, I want to pass in the moderation action. And a moderation action, we defined... okay, so I just need to pass back moderation action. That makes it even easier here. And I'll call this on moderate. Yeah. Hey, how you doing there, Light Jack? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Oh man, I'm like right there on this. Let's go to moderation CSHTML. CSHTML? Yeah, the old page. In my day, we wrote things in Razor pages. So there, the moderation content. There it is. And it is not lost on me that these titles, we're going to want to replace these so that we can do translation in the future. Looking for a free tool to manage like 25 Linux hosts? Good luck. I don't know. Why are you managing 25 Linux hosts? Could you manage 25 containers? Like, that's a thing, right? So I have my article, and if I put it down here, right, I can do a if show moderation actions, right? Then I can show these, right? And I can put a big old boolean around this. Not quite. I'm going to explicitly call that false. Because when I mouse over, I'm going to... Using stuff Docker won't do. Oh. So in the JavaScript that ran the page, when you mouse overed the content, right? See, it's even got style display none. I don't need the display none on this because it's not even on the page. We're going to want that type of feature. Go find that. It is right there. There's the old JavaScript that we had doing this. So on new, format message for moderation. And we had a whole bunch of stuff to push classes and whatnot. I think we're going to get there on that. But format message and show moderation panel. Yeah. It would clone the moderation action. And where did it? It added the click. Added the reject handler. And then it inserted it before. Okay. So if it inserted it before, then I want to put this. Right? And I'm not sure about the on click yet, but let's do on mouse over. Show moderation actions equals true. Right? I can do that. I can totally do that. Non-generic type event callback. Oh. All right. Reload the page. There we go. Now, on mouse out doesn't work because I didn't wire it up. Let's add some more of these. It'd be nice if there was like an on hover, but whatever. So on mouse, is it leave or out? I think it's leave. Right, one of them is... Go back to the JavaScript. Yeah, mouse leave. I knew we had this worked out. Show moderation actions equals false. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. It doesn't feel as responsive as it did with JavaScript. This is running interactive server, though. If I were to make this interactive WebAssembly, all the stuff that I did for that moderation service goes back to being able to do with Signal R. I don't want to do auto. By doing it as interactive server, I don't have to do any additional security interactions, because it's all being managed inside the... It's all being managed inside the page. I don't need to pass any security context around. Because you got to this page, right? I don't have the security attribute on this page. Right? Right, I should be able to do and say roles and policies. Oh, it's policy. Moderator. But I need... No. Microsoft, ASP.NET Core... Is it authorization? Yeah, there it is. Yep, got it, Scott. We're on the same path there. Grego Waffles, welcome. Good to see you. Hello. So, okay, the more option was a straight click through. Right? The more actions. I can turn that into an on-click navigate. Let me double check. Why do I have indicators over here? I need to double check what time. Oh, I have a calendar thing in this, don't I? Oh, we got plenty of time. Oh, we got plenty of time. Outlook, you go away. You go away now. Gonna learn as you go? Cool. Learning Vue.js? All right. So inside the old site.js, so we added the more, and it would navigate to message details. So I don't think I have a message details page yet. Yeah, I need a message details page for this to navigate to. I mean, let's just add it while we're here. Right? Close. And it's going to receive an ID coming off of that. I separated it with a vertical pipe. I could probably do it as 2. Right? It's the provider and then provider ID. And then parameter. Public. It was right there, man. It was right there. Thank you. Give me the other one. Sure. Give me the other one. Thank you. What don't you like about that? Okay. So now I can go back to moderation message, and here, yeah, I had it backwards, right? And I'm used to the right type colon, and it's weird because route parameters are name colon type, where tuples are type colon name. Do I want to inject navigation manager? Do I really need to do a navigation manager on this? Or can I just make this a hyperlink? Right? Like if I just go ahref equals right, does that work? I don't know. It's not lined up right. There's a centering on that isn't being done. If I just say width 100%. No. Inline block. Come here. No, it's this thing. Oh man. Didn't want you to go there. Nope. It's going to yank it. Yeah, text align center. No. There's a flex around it is what's going on. No, I've gone too far. If I inject navigation manager, what I can do is oh man. Are you kidding? That's pretty darn good. It's not great. Actually, this should be message details, and it's going to be content dot. Right, what was it I was looking for? Provider and then I need to do it like out there. Not bad. I think I need to rebuild so that it picks up the message detail page. So, did I not have an on click? Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Radium. It is looking for the I tags. Well, yeah. So bang, and now it jumps through to here properly. Good. And if I look at, I think I'm okay with that. And the message detail page should be pretty simple. I need to put a similar authorize on this. And I think I can make it static content. No. Here. Sure. No, you aren't. Fine. Something like this. How you doing there? Green Cool. Hello. Welcome. So if I paste that content in, I've got all this temp data stuff and model coming in here. That can probably clear up pretty quick. Yeah. Is it moderation message model? Stand by. Moderation message. Moderation content model. Who dat? Thank you, Radium. Appreciate it. Yep, give me my using statement for that. I don't want a new on that, John. I do need... if I go back down here, F7 over, I need a moderation repository injected. Hello. one of those. That wasn't what I selected. Moderation repository. That wasn't it either. Thank you. So now down here, I can override on initialized. Give me the async one. And I can say model equals yes. Right? Isn't it get message? No. Not get all content. Get content with moderation. Want. And we will await that. Fix the... You're not gonna... Why doesn't it like that? Oh, because it returns a tuple. I can do content dot dot action, because I'm doing a little bit of view modeling here. Good. What do you mean you don't know what messages? Message details resort. Sure. All right. No. If model is a moderation act, moderation content. It has a moderation state. Why don't you like that? Yes, it does. Boy. All right. Good. Yeah, because state is... It's not nullable. Oh, okay. Clean out some of this. And model... Nice to simplify things, let me tell you. Okay. Yeah. Now we got this temp data stuff here for the message. Oh, okay, so yeah. This is a validation message. Let's call it that. Let's say if not string is null or empty on that. Okay. Block. Humanize. I don't think I have humanize here. Do I have humanizer on this? Oh man, it feels pretty good where we are. I don't have humanize on this. I just want to copy it in from the other one. What? No. It's not here? Where is it? Is it? So where's it coming from? Nitro Evil!
Nitro Evil _ just resubscribed for 27 months.
Hello, welcome. It's... Thank you so much. 27 months, and I'll make another donation to the thing, to the American Cancer Society. Thank you so much. Is it only an NPM package? No. No. I think it is an indirect dependency. Because I don't see it here. Serilog? I don't want to go searching. No. Manage NuGet packages. Watch this. MarkDig. I think I have MarkDig already included. It's already being included. Well, it is included in there, right? And there's all the other stuff. Can you show me where it's being... What depends on it? No. I am nearly migrated, yes. It's not showing me what is including it. No. I don't think it's any of the ASP.NET Core. How is that being included? I mean, I don't care. I'll go at it. Like, right? Like, I don't care. I want it. I want it. Give it to me. Give it to me now. Spell it with one Z. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to fix there. See, it's kind of a thing. And now it fixes that. Uh-oh. Message details 27. $21, $24, $27, and $28. Yeah, I think I got all the things here, friends. Rebuild, refresh. It didn't install. Yes, it did. Okay. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. And I love the stack trace. We're not going to tell you exactly what it is. I know what it is. But do you know what it is? Of course you do. Of course you do. No, it is model. There we go. Yes, block. Over here, the card text, we can get rid of that using that same technique we did in the other place. If model, really? You arrogant son of a gun. Trim start. Model, author, display name, string comparison. So we ignore case. If it does not equal, there we go. How is my hot reload so fast to reload? I'm good. I'm running it at the command line. I've also got 24 processors on this machine. That's the GPU. So. I don't know if the go button works. Quite frankly, I don't care right now. I can almost guarantee that I know that doesn't work yet. Okay. If I can go back to moderation. So I still have to do a little bit with the CSS layout. I need to wire up the two moderation action buttons there. But that's massive. Massive progress today. That should have been capital pages. Did it find it? Yeah. Started moderation actions. Good. That's out there. Yeah, .NET Watch is screaming fast, and it's even faster on Linux than it is on Windows. It is so fast on Linux. So I do have 2 scroll bars, and that's a CSS thing that I know I need to address. I want to make the size of this I want to have it stop at the foot of the page on the moderation screen. So yeah, that's a CSS fix to get in there. Coding on Linux with .NET using Visual Studio Code with Hot Reload is an amazing experience, particularly working with Blazor. It really is. So, what did I miss here? So, let's see here. Is keyboard navigation easier on Blazor? You're making a good point here. Keyboard navigation is going to make a full round trip. It's going to be slower. The keyboard navigation stuff that we built for this screen is going to be significantly slower. Right? Because this is doing server-side interaction to pull that up. Right? That's interactive server. Look at how slow it is. Because it's going back to the server to make that decision instead of doing it with WebAssembly here locally. Do I make this WebAssembly? Yeah, I do have a client project. Yeah. I could pick up and push this into the client project pretty quickly, but I'm just about out of time. The waterfall page is WASM. This is WebAssembly. It's actually interactive auto, so it turns into WebAssembly. Which means you get really responsive interactions on these. Right. That's funny. If where I have the fade out down here at the bottom, you can't click on something in the fade out. You have to get above before it'll let you click it. That feels like a issue. But I love the spin around. I feel like there's a handful of animations I want to make available for that. But the moderation page, do I have blocked users? I didn't write blocked users yet. This should be, For the level of client-side high-speed interactions I want to do, I should convert this back to WebAssembly, which is going to break the whole moderation service and eventing model that I just built into this so that I could have it run on the server and eliminate all the security. Moving the user interface over, not hard. The eventing and push onto this screen is going to break. Feels like the right thing to do, doesn't it, chat? Have a good one, Dr. Cox. Thank you so much for stopping by with us today. I'm sure I missed you, but enjoy dinner. Man, this feels so good where we've gotten to at this point, though, right? So good. I also have to wire up the pause. We got a lot done here. I committed and pushed those changes, right? Do I have the latest changes pushed? Yeah. Let me head back over. Let's just chat in the chat room for a little bit. I see a couple commented and information here. Let me check in with you there. Steve with a question. When I built ClipTalk, how did I get all clips from Twitch using their official API? I did. And I did not run into rate limit because I was not trying to grab all the clips. If you try to grab all the clips, you will run out of database space and disk space immediately. You can't. You can't. Also, you can't go over to Twitch and say, give me all clips since a certain time. You have to say, give me all clips for a channel. And you can't say, notify me when new clips are created. Those events don't exist. So you need a pull model in order to get clips from Twitch. Their API doesn't make that available. So integrating clips with Twitch means you need to somehow pull or, right? So what I did was I had specified I think we had 1,000 channels that we had identified. For those, go and pull for new clips. And I narrowed it down by knowing that most folks create clips while a stream is going on. So if a stream was live, every 5 minutes, check to see if there's a new clip. If there is a new clip, add it. And I did all kinds of things to stagger how quickly I was trying to load clips, so that I had a polling process that was constantly looking for new clips, and it was looking for different blocks of channels. And at the top of the hour, it would do a full check of the entire collection of channels. But even then, we got aggressive about pruning that back. If a channel hadn't been live in more than a day, don't check it every hour. Check it once every couple hours. If a channel hadn't been live in more than a week, don't check it but once a week. If a channel hadn't been live in longer than that, check it even less frequently. Like, there were folks who went offline and stopped streaming. So no reason to continue checking for new clips if nobody was creating clips. Like, it was constantly checking for new clips for Dr. Lupo, even though Dr. Lupo stopped streaming to Twitch. Like, There's no new live content from him, so there's no new clips. So don't go get new clips. And then there was an admin way to push a button to say, go check to see if there's new clips for this channel anyway. And force the fetch for just that channel. And we had a timestamp. Here's the time of when the last clip was created for that channel. So the query that we could send into Twitch that would come back very quickly is, go get all new clips from the C# Fritz channel since his last clip on whatever day. And it would narrow that down very, very quickly and come back. So that was some of the strategy that we employed to try and optimize those queries. Even then, you get into... We had, at its height, 30 million clips in the database. Now, we were just tracking data about those. But each one of those clips was about 10K in the database. Yeah. So that was 30 gig. Oops. No, that was 3 gig in the database that you would search through when you were searching clips. That's a lot. And then if you want to start searching on titles and transcripts, we had that data stored in an elastic index, and it had to go through that. I have ideas and ways to optimize that and make ClipTalk run for a much, much smaller audience. And in particular, if we were to take ClipTalk and instead of running it as a function app, run it as an Aspire app that is an Azure container app with an Azure app service that's doing that polling and running in the background. There's a bunch of savings that we could realize. It's still, for tens of millions of clips, it's too expensive to run. Too expensive to run. And that's the real holdback, is when you start talking about databases with dozens of gigabytes of data and searching through them, it's too expensive to run for free. It just is. So you need to start creating monetization strategies. And quite frankly, since Twitch had their own implementation of a featured clip service, you can't compete with it. So there's a lot more that we were doing and we could do, and the concepts of playlists and random clips being presented. Twitch is never going to build those features. There's no reason for them to. Because quite frankly, folks don't watch clips. They don't. Until you put them on another service. Folks don't go to Twitch and discover clips. But when you put them on another service, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Facebook, folks watch them all day. Then they really watch them. That's the challenge. How do we get Twitch content onto other platforms? Twitch doesn't want to get content onto other platforms. They want to get viewers onto their platform. And there's a fundamental misunderstanding there. I would love to have a conversation with Dan Clancy about this. Dan, how you doing there, Dan? It's me. It's Jeff. I know that I can poke and prod and be annoying at times. Dan, we really need to talk about how your team approaches clips, because I know there's more they could be doing. I know your team watched me build ClipTalk. Let's talk, because I want to see Twitch evolve and grow. Somebody clip that and let's tag Dan and see if we can get. He's been meeting and talking to partners. I wouldn't be surprised if he at least looks at it. It's worth a shot to try and get him on an interview on a stream. So, that's all the time that I have. I do need to run. I've got some other things that I've got to get to. I want to record a couple more episodes of C# in the Cards. Make sure you check that out. That's the video series that we're doing, teaching the basics of C#. Spell it right, Fritz. And in building this website, we've actually been learning a little bit about things that ASP.NET and Blazor doesn't do that we should do to make it easier. It's been a couple days since I've, gosh, it's been almost 11 days. It has been 11 days since I published my last episode. So I got to get some more content out here. Make sure you check that out. Tell your friends, tell your families, tell your pets about the C# in the Card series. It's all on the YouTube. There's a playlist out there you can go to. All of the samples are available as C# notebooks. You can run them live in your browser if you'd like. You can download and run them in Visual Studio Code if you'd like. They love it? Oh, that's great, Wonkman. Drop me a direct message, not a whisper here. Sure, drop me a whisper. Do you work in the same office with your teammates? Let me know. Drop me a message. So I'm going to try and produce a couple more of these. I'm actually in the middle of recording. I think I can show this. Can I show this? Let's see what happens. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? I know what's the worst that can happen. I need to put that blog post up. But it's not that one. It is that vault. There we go. I put all the lessons in here. It's not synced yet. Sync, darn it. There it is. Here's the next episode. The script for it. I need to get it formatted. But get it formatted, get the correct content into it. But the script is written. Got to format it and get it ready and get it recorded. And that's what I want to do a little bit of this afternoon. So, coming. It's coming. And then after that is... we're going to do conditionals in this next episode. Then loops, arrays, collections. Pattern matching is really far down, but I was thinking about moving pattern matching up to after collections. Now I should do converting, but yeah, I should do converting and then pattern matching. So I've been, the order of these have been quite fluid. So, all right. Yeah, let me wrap this up. Let me wrap up. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back on Thursday. Yeah, I'll be back on Thursday with more content. There is a podcast with our friend Lana Lux that's going to be going out soon. I need to get her some more data, some more information to get that out and running alive. I got your message here, Wonkman. Let me get back to you in just a minute after I wrap up. But yeah, let me. So podcast with Lana Lux is going to be coming out. Sounds like in the next few days. I'm going to do some more. I'm going to record a C# in the cards. I have a blog post about how I got a Raspberry Pi demo running that automatically updates a user interface. Really, really cool stuff. Running containers on a Raspberry Pi with a screen attached. I need some pictures to go with that too, I guess. That would be cool. But I had that blog post queued up to go. Hey, Apollo, thank you so much for joining us. I'm checking out and seeing who else is streaming on the big Twitch TV network I can get you connected to. Let's go over... I want to go over and visit our friend Code Rushed. That's Mark Miller. He's converting speech. So dictate and generate Lambda code inside Visual Studio. So here comes the raid call, and we're going to raid our friend Code Rushed. No, yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. Folks on YouTube, there's lots more content just below or over there somewhere. Make sure you click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. We're trying to push through more subscribers. We're closing in on 13,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. We want to get that growing and do more with that. Thank you so much. Those of you on Twitch, get ready to say hello to our friend Mark Miller. I will see you on Thursday. Have a great rest of your day. I wish you good health and good coding. Take care.